So, welcome to Selling on WordPress Crash Course. Looks like there's just a couple of us here today. That's okay. That just means you guys get more of my time. So, hello, my name is Sammy. I'm the Events and Education Coordinator at Goosefoot. So I run all of these workshops. I manage our online presence, and I do whatever I can to help our local businesses. So these crash courses are just 45-minute little workshops to talk about specific subjects. As I said, today we're talking about selling on WordPress. If you have never been to a Zoom webinar before, it's a little different than the meetings. You can hear and see me, but I cannot hear and see you. So the only way for me to interact with you folks is to use the chat function. Just a reminder, as it says on the screen, please switch your to field from all panelists to all panelists and attendees so that everybody can see your chat, not just me. These work really well when you guys can talk to each other as well as me. So while I run through this intro, I'm going to go ahead and start our first poll. I'm just asking if you have a WordPress site now. You can see those options right there. So go ahead and do that as you have the time. There's also, if you found it, a Q&A function where you guys can submit questions outside of just the regular chat. It gives me a little pop-up notification that there is a question, and I will do my best to answer them all here. If not, I will answer them before the end of the workshop. So please feel free to ask questions at any time. I'm happy to pull up sites, do things again in a different way, try to explain it so that it makes sense to you guys so that you're prepared to go and do the work you need to do. So it looks like pretty much 2 of you are just exploring your options. 1 of you already has the website set up. So great. So for the 2 of you that are exploring, WordPress is the biggest content management system out there right now. What that means is you can do basically anything you want with WordPress. You can do just a simple blog. You can do a really heavy, in-depth website with a lot of forms. But for our purposes, the most important thing is that you can do an e-commerce store. So there's a lot of tools out there that will help you do a store really well. It's up to you to pick which one you want to use. I don't have a preference for one or the other. I like a lot of them in a lot of different ways. And quite frankly, a lot of them do pretty much the same thing. They'll just do it in a slightly different way or an order, and they look different. So if you don't already have one of these picked out, please take the time to explore and see what fits for you. If you get really frustrated and stuck and you don't know what you're doing, try a different tool. As it says here on the screen, WordPress is not automatically set up for e-commerce. It's a thing you have to install a plugin, which is what WordPress calls all these tools that give you different functionality on your website. So you have to install an e-commerce plugin. There are a lot of really easy ones to use, and all of these are free other than Shopify with paid add-ons to do more things. As I mentioned, Shopify, you do have a monthly fee, and we have a class specifically on Shopify because you can build an entire website just with that tool. But I'm not going to go in depth on all of these. If you guys have any questions on any of these, please ask me. WooCommerce is the largest tool and the one we're going to be exploring today. It can do the most things. It's actually owned by WordPress. A lot of people make add-ons and different functions to it that you can purchase, but the base WooCommerce is free and it's not too complicated to use. But with all those add-ons, it can get kind of confusing on all of the different things you can or should do. So it's the best and the biggest, but it can be complicated. So you might not end up choosing it after seeing it today. Please give yourself time to explore. Next up is BigCommerce. It's the second biggest one. It's much easier to use than WooCommerce. It's got a few less functions you can buy as add-ons. Easy digital downloads is only for digital downloads, as it says in the name. This is your PDF files, music files, anything like that that people can download once they've paid for it. I use that a lot on the Economic Development Council. We used to create a lot of reports, and we would have them for sale on our website, and people could purchase those with easy digital downloads. Or if they were members already of the EDC, there was a password protected section where they could just get all of the access to all of the reports for free. So like I said, there's a lot of ones out there to pick. This would take much longer than 45 minutes if we went through all of them. So we're mostly going to be talking about WordPress today. And at this point, I'm actually going to go ahead and go into a WordPress site that I've been working on. If you are a member of the Langley Chamber, you might have gotten their emails about the virtual village that they're working on. And so that's what I'm going to play with in the behind the scenes right now. So if you're on, WordPress, you log into your backend, and this is the front of the site. If I go into the backend, my dashboard looks like, sorry, my internet's being a little slow right now because we are live streaming. So this is what your dashboard looks like. You won't have all of these options available depending on what theme you have and what plugins you currently have installed. As you can see, I already have WooCommerce on here, but if you don't have it on your site yet, all you have to do is go over here to plugins and let that list load. And then once it's done so, at the very top of the page, there's going to be an add new box. So I'm going to click on that. And now you can see there's featured, popular, recommended, favorites. They have the whole list here. But I'm going to go right over here to the search plugins, which is on the far right side of the page. And I'm going to type in, you can even type in something as easy, you can type in e-commerce, but you could also just do something as easy as shop. And it'll give you a whole list of plugins. You can do Etsy shops, WooCommerce. I'm going to go ahead and do e-commerce specifically so that I get more of the ones I'm looking for. Excuse me. So as you can see, WooCommerce is the first option because, as I said, it's the biggest one. There's 5+ million active installations, but there's a lot of these are WooCommerce plugins, but you can also see Yith, Token, mobile-friendly Equid. A lot of these are really good options if you want to explore. You can read the reviews. You can get more details so you can see screenshots of how it works. But as I said, we're going to do WooCommerce. So you would just hit install now. And then once that's processed, you hit active. It takes you to a WooCommerce screen that walks you through setting up all the required pages, like the shop page, cart page, checkout, all of those pages. It can automate that for you, or you can set those up and specify them on your own. Super simple and easy to use. So now that we have it installed, if you go into the WooCommerce, if you click on WooCommerce specifically, you'll get all of the settings. So you can personalize it by adding logos or colors. You can set up your shipping, which is basic shipping rates. And then you can also install other plugins that will let you connect to a FedEx account or UPS account so that it can automatically calculate how much it will cost you to ship through those programs. You can let people choose which one they want to pick, whether they want to pick shipping from UPS, USPS, FedEx, something else, or you can decide you're only going to offer shipping through this one place. All of those shipping plugins are completely free. There are paid ones that will do more, but base shipping plugin is free. You just have to add it. You can figure out the tax rates. Automatic is great. We'll talk about taxes later. They can get really tricky, but automatic taxes help you charge the right tax amount so that when you're not paying out of pocket come tax time. And then you can set up your payments. So are you going to take Square, PayPal, Stripe, some other kind of payment processor? The nice thing about WooCommerce, it is so big. There are so many different plugins that whatever payment processor you use in the shop, there is probably a WooCommerce plugin for it. So you don't have to deal with two separate payment processors. You can just stick with whatever one you have right now. So you'll have to fiddle with the settings yourself. It's going to be so different for each of you. What we're going to look at today is actually setting up a product. So outside of the WooCommerce section, the next one down should be products. And you're going to click on that. And then you'll see I already have some products built into this website already. So my whole list is here. It shows me, you know, the name of the product. Is it in stock or is it sold out? Is it low in stock? How much does it cost? What category is it? These basic information. But to add a new one, I'm going to go back to the top. If you have a spreadsheet with all of your products, you can import it. That will make your life so much easier. I was working with one client who had literally 23,000 products. When you get into variations on color and size, so, you know, you say you have this shirt in your shop, but you have it in all sizes between extra small and extra large, and you have it in 4 different colors. Suddenly now your one product has become 24 items to upload, and that becomes a lot when you expand it out into your entire stock. So the import function helps a lot. So feel free to use that if you already have some sort of inventory system in your business. If you don't, you can do it manually. And it is okay if you have a lot of product and it's going to take you so much time to add everything. You can launch your website before you have all the products set up. It is okay to just get your most popular items up, or your biggest sellers, or the ones you really want people to have access to. Get those up on your website, get it launched, you know, let people know, hey, we're adding more stuff all the time, so that you have a way to get some revenue and you can go back and keep adding later. Nothing is ever set in stone. You can always add things, you can take things down. It's going to be okay. So we're going to click on Add New. And once this loads, now we'll get really easy, I think, page. This might be a little overwhelming, but you can see you can add the product name. We're going to do something as simple as test product. You can add a description. I will say with WooCommerce and most WordPress themes, if you type it into this box, it's going to be way really down below the product because this is the long expanded explanation. Think on Amazon when you look at their products and they have the picture and they have a short like 2-line description. And if you click read more on that, it scrolls you like halfway down the page where it's got the really long pages long explanation about like how it's sourced and where it's made and like the benefits and little tiny little details. That is what will happen in this first box. So if you have those expanded details, feel free to type them in here. But if not, I would recommend holding it until we get farther down on the page. As you can see, there's categories here. You can use them. It makes things searchable and easier to use, or you can ignore them. It's totally up to you. It doesn't break your site if you don't use them. Same with tags. As you can see, here's my categories here. You know, you can see my tags. I think I haven't really been using the tags on this site, but my tags right now are art and jewelry. This should not show up for you guys. This is all dependent on my theme. So this is not inherent in WordPress. This is on my site. So ignore all of these bars of things in the middle of the page here. Keep your eye on the right side of the page. We're going to look right here. Product image is incredibly important because people can't come into your store because they can't touch and feel the product and look at it in different angles and lights. You have to provide that. A really good image is key for people actually clicking on the thing. So when you set a product image, you only set the one, but make sure you set a product image or it defaults to WooCommerce's default, like hand-drawn missing image kind of image. If you have a bunch of pictures, again, if I mentioned, you know, you have this shirt, but in a bunch of different colors and sizes or cuts, if you have pictures for each of those variations, you can add those into your product gallery images. Once we've set the image, we're going to scroll down a little farther. Product data is the first box you're really going to pay attention to. You have to fill out the tabs that are important here. So it defaults to a simple product. That means this is the one thing you have and there's no variation on it. It is, if I was selling, this bottle of hand sanitizer, I don't have any other sizes. I don't have any colors or scents. It's just this one. I'm going to use it as a simple product. If you have something that's a grouped product, so say you have a cutlery set, so you have this set of forks, but you also have the grouped product so they can see the forks, the spoons, the knives. Those could be grouped products. External or affiliate products, I've not really used this category, but you could if you are partnering with somebody else who sells something similar or goes with your thing. I know, let's see, what's a good example? Say you make tables, but you don't sell the glass top to go on top of it, but you have a partner company that makes custom sized glass tops that go amazingly with your table. You're not going to sell the glass tops for them, but you could create it as an external affiliate product so that they could be linked on your site of saying, hey, go buy this from them. I mostly stick to simple product or variable product. Variable product gives you those options for color and size. So because it's the more complex one, I'm going to go ahead and click that for this example. So if you have a SKU, you're welcome to add it here, or you can skip it. It's totally your choice. This is just a code that helps you track your inventory, and it also makes things a little more searchable online. If you can manage the stock at the entire product level. So if you click this button, it lets you say, I have this many thing, no matter how much variations I have. I only have this many of the whole thing. Well, I don't really know when you would use that, so this box almost always stays unclicked for me. You can click sold individually if you will only allow people to buy one per order. Again, I'm not sure when you would use this, but everybody's business is different. You might sell something that people can only have one of. Say you added toilet paper to your website and you wanted people to only buy the one package. That might be a good option to click. Now we're going to go over here to the left side of this box. We're going to click shipping. All of these tabs are clickable with more information. So the shipping is really important, but it's one a lot of businesses want to skip. But you really need to add this if you're not charging a flat shipping fee. So you need to add the weight. And right now it's defaulting to kilograms. In the WooCommerce settings that we were in earlier, you can change that to default to pounds. And same thing with the dimensions. You can change it to default to inches or feet or yards or whatever you are working with. You need to add these because the dimensions and the weight is how plugins like USPS, UPS, and FedEx calculate how much the thing is going to cost to ship. Now, don't worry. I had one client saying, well, I would have to figure out the size of the box in order that I'm going to ship it in order to fill this out. That is not true. You enter the dimensions of the item, probably how you're going to package it. So, if you have a shirt, don't measure it length, width, and like flat height, fold it up and then measure that, because FedEx or UPS or USPS take that information about that product and they use it to calculate what size of a box that they offer that it would fit into. So you don't have to measure the box, you just have to measure the product. If you are buying product from a wholesaler and selling it in your shop, like a lot of our shops here do for clothing or gifts, you are not making them, you're buying them from someone else. The manufacturer probably has this information for you. So go check your website, go check your order information, but they could probably make this easier for you. You could also set up shipping classes. As you can see, I don't have any set up yet, but you can set up different shipping classes. So you could set up a shipping class for free shipping. Anybody who buys this thing gets it shipped free. You can set it up for a specific flat rate amount. Whatever different kinds of classifications you want, you can set those up in advance and just select it from this list once you have those set up. Linked product, as it says right here, you can upsell or you can cross-sell right on your website. You can convince people to buy something bigger or better, or you can convince them to buy something else. Amazon does this a lot. If you're on their shopping pages, they show you right on the product you're looking at other products you might be interested in. Those are pulled from a random algorithm. You can set specific products you want them to see. Attributes explains the variations. So if you have a simple product, you don't necessarily need to fill this section out. But if you have a variable product, this section is absolutely required. So as you can see, these are the options I currently have set up for this site. You might have different things. You might just have color and size. And note, you do not have to have all of these product attributes do not have to be available on every product. I have some in this shop right now that are variable by size and color. They are not variable by brand or weight or pan type. Those are very specific products. So thanks to this drop down, I just have to pick the one I want. So I'm going to go ahead and click color, add, and then it will give me this new box where it says values. So if I click into the values box, I can see the whole list of colors I currently have on the site. So, say, but this shirt I only have in black, blue, gold, green, and red. I don't have all of these other options for this specific shirt. I just have these 4. But say I have a brand new shirt that's not, not in here. Teal is not an option right now on my site. That doesn't mean I can't use it. It just means I have to click this add new box. And now I can type in teal and it'll pop up just like the others will. Make sure you click this button used for variations. Otherwise the next tab is not going to function at all. So I clicked used for variations. I left visible on the product page, and then I'm going to click save attributes. Let it do its thinking. Now I'm going to go down to the variations tab. So as you can see here, it default says before you can use variations, you have to have attributes. That's why I said that last tab was crucial. But now that I've already added those, I can either manually add variations. So say I have, did I do size? No, I just did color. Haha. Let me add size really quick. Let's do extra small, small, medium, and large, just for an example. Make sure I click that used for variations button. And now I can go back to the variations tab. It's going to calculate it again for really quickly. Now, if I had, this shirt available in all of those colors, in all of those sizes, I could make this really easy on myself by just clicking on this drop down and clicking create variations from all attributes. This will automatically give me all of my options based on the 2 different options I gave. It'll create all of the possible combinations, which, as we talked about, is a lot. That's like 24. I think I might have calculated it wrong. But if I only have, say, small, all I have left is red, blue, and green, and large, all I have left is turquoise, you can do it manually as well by just leaving it on add variation and clicking go. I know this is really in the nitty gritty and complicated. I apologize. I'm just doing my best to help. If you have simple products, you can skip this entire complicated process and just fill out inventory and shipping. But if you're adding something with a lot of different options, this is the easiest way to do it. So it gives you your first option, and it gives you the drop-down list for color. So say I'm going to pick red and small, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this over here to expand it down so I have more details. I can add a picture specifically for this variation. So if somebody picked red in the drop down on the product page, it would switch to the red shirt automatically in the gallery. They wouldn't have to choose it themselves. I can add a SKU if there is a SKU specifically for this variation. It's an enabled product. People can buy it. It's not downloadable because it's a shirt. It's not virtual because it's a shirt. And I could manage the stock at this level. So do I have any good pictures of a red shirt? Let's see. Probably not, going to be honest. This is a pink shirt, but we're going to use it just as an example. It's going to upload and think about it. Set variation. I'm going to set the price at $35. I could set a sale if I want. So say specific day after 2 weeks or between a specific window, I can set it on sale only during that time. Right now, things are hard. My customers already want to support me. I don't need to offer them a sale to get them in. I just need them offer them a way to support me. So we're not going to do a sale right now. You can set the quantity. I only have 3 of these left. If you leave it at 0, it doesn't say there's no stock. It just means that it won't show that number. But if you type 0, it will say it's out of stock. It's default set to do not allow back orders. You could change that. You can allow but notify the customer that it is on back order, or you can allow people to order it on back order and it won't tell them. It'll just tell you you need to buy more. So I'm going to click do not allow because I only have 3 of these left. I can enter the shipping information here. So the weight, the length, dimensions, shipping class, same as parent, or I can set up a new one if I have those built in. And then I can type a description for this variation specifically if I want to, but I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes. And then we're going to do one more just so you guys can see the variation when we actually look at the product page. So let's see, I'm going to add another variation. So once again, just leaving that add variation and then clicking go. If I'm clicking around too fast, please let me know in the chat, you guys. I'm here to help you. So if you have any questions, if you're seeing anything you want me to re-explain, please use that tool to let me know. You guys are a quiet group so far. All right, so this one I'm going to do black and I'm going to do it in large. And let's say, is anyone in my downloads having a black shirt? She's got a black sweater on. That's not black, but we'll pretend it is. So little black shrug. Realistically, in the real world, I would upload these as separate objects. I am only doing it this way to show you guys how the variation works. So go ahead and set it. Once again, I can type a SKU if I need to. It's not downloadable. It's not virtual. There's no stock to manage. Actually, yes, there is, because I only have, let's say, 4 of these. So regular price is going to be $50. I could set up a sale if I want to. Stock quantity, I have 5 of these left. It don't allow any back orders. You could do the dimensions and the weight if you need to. I could type a description if I need to, but I'm going to go ahead and click save. I have all of my products set up as I want to for now. All of the variations of this product. All right, so that is saved now. Advanced, if I want to, I can give people a purchase note. So when customers have purchased this specific thing, I could send them care of the product, care instructions. I could send them, just a thank you note. I could send them my return policy, whatever I needed to. I could set them a new order, so I can specify I want this product to show up first in my shop. If I leave it at 0, as it is now, it'll continue the random order as I have set it. I can also enable people to leave a review on the product if I want them to tell me if they like it or not. So that's an option as well. There's more options. These are extensions. A lot of these are ones that cost you money, but it will let you either, one-page checkout. Just let them buy the thing and leave. They don't have to go all the way to the checkout page. They don't have to click around on your site. They can just immediately check out. You can set minimum or maximum quantities of orders. Say somebody has to buy 4 of these things from you in order to, or 4 things in order to check out. You could set that requirement. Name your price lets people set how much they want to pay for it. This is really good for nonprofits. Or you can also add additional variation images. So on that one product, you can show it in different lights. You can put it on a person and show it in movement, anything you need. Julia asks, how would you set up a physical product that comes with a downloadable product, say instruction manual? So I would actually put the instruction manual back here in the purchase note. I would upload it somewhere on your website and then include the link to that instruction manual in the purchase note, because that purchase note automatically gets sent to them as soon as they have completed the checkout. And then you don't have to worry about including something physical with the item. That's personally how I would do it. There are probably plugins that let you attach a downloadable instruction manual. You probably won't see the commission option. That's something I've added to this site that I'm not using right now. Same thing, you won't see the vendor or the Slider Revolution. Those are different plugins that enable me to do things. Now we're at the bottom of the page. This is really where I recommend explaining your product. I would put it in the product short description, because the vast majority of WooCommerce themes have the short description up at the top by the item itself. So if you use this box all the way up at the top of the page, right under the title, this will get shoved to the bottom of the page, which is not what I want. I want it to appear right next to the image itself. So this is where I would put my product. As this example, I'm going to go ahead and type these beautiful sweaters that we uploaded as a test for the class. I can add all sorts of formatting here. I can add different headings, captions. I can bold it, italics. I can use bulleted lists if I want to explain different functions of it. I can use numbered lists. I can use a pull quote if I want to, pull something really important out of it. I can align left, align right, center. I can link specific words in the description if I need to. I can insert a read more tab. This is if you're typing too much and you're worried it's going to bore people. So it'll hide it under a read more tag. I wouldn't use this for products. I would just put that information up top in the longer description. You can make this box full screen. You can hide the toolbar if you want to. You can add a slider if you have that plugin installed, which I do. These are all different plugin functions. And I can also add more pictures. Say you have a sizing chart, you can add that right here. If you have a PDF with detailed information that people might want, you could add the link to that PDF here. You can add video if you have really cool video of the product or somebody talking about it. So there's really no limit to what kind of media you can add here. I really recommend spending the most time in a product on the short description and on the picture, because that is what makes somebody buy the thing. So now that we have done that, we finished setting up our product. I'm going to go back all the way to the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and click publish. So this is going to take a second to think about it as it processes it, uploads all that information I give it onto the website. As to my previous question, could you put the link here as a preview? Yes, you can absolutely link to the manual in the description if you want, so that you're not necessarily hiding it for only people who have finished completing the product. You could allow that manual to be available from the start here in the description. That is absolutely okay. So now I have gone ahead and updated it. As you can see, product published. I can click view product right here. So here is my test product. You can see I didn't upload a picture. So that is what happened. It looks like that. That's WooCommerce's default picture. That's why uploading that product picture is so important, so you do not get this. So this looks a little different depending on your theme. Your theme is how WordPress makes your site look. Everybody's is different. This is the one I'm using for this site. So don't worry too much about the little details about how things are organized. As I said, this is going to change depending on how your site looks. But you got test product, and you can see my color variations here. So I want black, and see automatically it only gives me large because I didn't add black as an option for multiple sizes. And see, boom, the picture shows up because I uploaded the picture for this variation specifically. And then it changes the price. It tells me there are 5 in stock. I can change the number for how much I want, and I can click add in cart, or I can add it to my wish list. Here's my great description. If I had uploaded any additional information, it's there. And if anybody had reviewed it, their option would be right here to do so. You might not have this on your site depending on how your theme is laid out. So if I clicked add to cart, that would then, my site leaves you on the page. It says it's been added to your cart. I can either click here and click view cart, or I can click my cart icon up here. This is going to be very different for all of your sites depending on how you have them laid out. At the cart, I can get rid of items. I can increase the quantity. I can decrease the quantity. I can add a coupon code if I have one, or I can go to checkout. So you've all seen this part of a checkout website. As you can see, it was a lot of little fiddly details, but it's not an insurmountable amount of work. You just need to give yourself the time to sit down and do it. So that is how WooCommerce works. It's not too complicated. I'm going to go ahead and delete that test product. But as I work on this, do you guys have any questions about WooCommerce that I can pull up while we are still here? And I'm going to launch one more poll as well. I'm just asking, what kind of goods do you sell? Is it physical goods, services, digital? And feel free to select all of those that are what you sell. I'm going to move to trash because, as I said, this is a test product. I don't need anybody to actually be able to buy it. All right, you guys don't have much questions. You're a quiet bunch. So, as I said, that is how WooCommerce works. A lot of them work the same. Different options will be presented to you. Things will be moved around in different orders depending on which plugin you use and what your theme is. But they all work fairly similarly. So some of the requirements for selling on a WooCommerce website in general is that, or WordPress website, sorry, is that you have to have a security certificate, an SSL, attached to your website. This is the function that allows you to have HTTPS in front of your website instead of just HTTP. It makes your site more secure. It verifies you that you are real and legitimate. A lot of WooCommerce e-commerce stores will not work unless you have a security certificate installed. It does cost more money. It's a little bit of a tricky process, but the vast majority of your hosts provide it either as an extra purchase or it's included in it. And either your host or if you're working with a developer, they can help you do this. So don't be too intimidated by it, but be aware there is that additional cost. It keeps you and your customers much safer. Also be aware that WordPress themes, which, as I said again, is how WordPress knows to make your website look, and the hosting are all separate costs to any e-commerce purchases you might do. I have spent probably about $200 on that site you saw so far. I am lucky enough, I have a hosting that, because I'm a developer, I can build a whole bunch of websites at no additional cost to myself. It does cost me a whole lot up front. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for all of you. You just need one site. You don't need to manage 12 of them, and you don't need to spend $500 a year on it. The SSL certificate comes with my hosting, but if I needed to buy it separate, it would be about $150 a year if I got it through somebody like GoDaddy. I think others are sometimes more, sometimes less. You'll have to do that research yourself. And the hosting, again, you can do GoDaddy, you can do Bluehost, you can do Would-Be Telecom has some hosting options. There's so many hostings out there, but you have to decide how you want your site to look and where you want to host it. A couple of you already have websites. Some of you are just looking and trying to figure out what you want to do. So if you need more advice on that, I have a selling online workshop again on this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. But you're also welcome to just email me and ask me questions. I'm happy to help however I can. So sales tax. A lot of people are afraid of selling online because they're scared about sales tax. How does it work? Well, luckily, there is no federal sales tax. Every state, county, or city has their own rules. So it can be a little confusing, but you don't have to worry about paying any federal. How it does work, though, is that you do have to collect sales tax if you have a sales tax nexus in where the customer is purchasing. So in your physical store, the sale takes place in that physical store, so you have to worry about the sales tax where your store is located. That's not how online sales happen. Online sales, technically the sale happened where the good is getting delivered. So say somebody in Federal Way purchases your item. You're not going to be collecting Island County sales tax. You're going to be collecting whatever the rate is over in Federal Way. That can get really confusing really quickly and just be completely overwhelming. Luckily, you do not have to do it manually. The reason you use an e-commerce tool like WooCommerce or BigCommerce or Ecwid or whatever, rather than just telling people to PayPal you money, is those tools are set up to calculate the sales tax for you based on where the customer is located and based on where you are located. So what a sales tax nexus means is it is the state in which you have a physical presence, so Washington State. If you have a storage or warehousing space, so say your store is in Washington State, but you also have a warehouse down in California, you'd have to worry about the sales tax in Washington and in California. If you have employees in another state, so say you are located in Washington State, the person who does all of your marketing and your processing lives in Wisconsin, and you have a warehouse in California, now you have to worry about sales tax in Washington, Wisconsin, and California. I'm pretty sure almost all of you are just going to have to worry about Washington State, and that is it. Because you're located here. If you have any employees, they're located here, and you don't have a warehouse, or your warehouse is like your garage. So for most of you, you only have to worry about Washington State. I had a client who was concerned. They were getting a bunch of orders in, and they went, why did it stop charging sales tax for the last 4 orders? And I thought, that's kind of weird. And so I went and looked. It's because all 4 of those orders came from Florida. They do not have to pay sales tax in Florida. It won't charge the customer, and you don't have to file it. You only have to worry about Washington State. You can thank Amazon for that rule, but you do have to worry about different counties or city rates in Washington State. Island County has a decently high one, but Seattle is much higher versus the eastern side of the state, which might be a little lower. If you overcharge or undercharge somebody on sales tax, you could be in trouble. So make sure you use those automated tools that will calculate it for you. If you do have a sales tax nexus in multiple states, I would recommend getting an accountant who has online sales experience that can help you figure that out. I'm not an accountant. I can't give you firm answers one way or the other. But Washington State does require you pay the sales tax where the item is delivered. You have to report it to Washington State when you file. your sales tax, however that is, annually, quarterly, or monthly, and then they disperse it to the appropriate counties as their system works. But you have to collect the sales tax for where the item is delivered, not where you are located. Payment processing, as I mentioned, luckily the vast majority of these payment processors will take, or these e-commerce plugins will take whatever payment processor you currently use in your store. I had somebody that asked me, well, what about this one that I had never heard of? It took me 1 second of Googling to go, oh yeah, WooCommerce ties into that, easy peasy. But if you don't have a payment processor in your shop, say you usually only take check or cash, or you use like a bank card machine and your bank doesn't offer any sort of online integrations. Some of the most popular ones are PayPal. It is the most widely used e-commerce payment processor. It's been around for well over a decade. It costs 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction, and pays out within a day. Stripe is a little more flexible. It's used by Kickstarter and Nike and the Girl Scouts and pretty much everyone you can think of. Same fees as PayPal. Usually it pays out within 2 days. Square, the benefit of it is a lot of businesses around here are using Square as their payment processor in the shop. And you might also have your stock in there. So that could also be tied in to just upload your stock automatically into WooCommerce. It does only integrate with some e-commerce tools. It does integrate with WooCommerce. It does not integrate with BigCommerce or any of those. Same fees, and usually it pays out within 1 to 2 business days. But really, whatever you're using is going to work fine. Shipping and returns can also be scary for businesses that are looking at selling online. 80% of customers are influenced by shipping costs and speed. It is crazy to me how people will abandon a cart because, oh, this isn't going to ship in another week or so, I don't want it. Or I've literally watched my friends who shop on Amazon buy something that's $25 and then find out, oh, you only get free shipping if you spend $30. So they will go find $10, $5 worth of stuff that they didn't need in order to avoid a $3 shipping cost. It's crazy to me, but people are impacted by that. So you will have to decide how quickly you are able to get things out reasonably, how much you want to charge, or if you want to offer free shipping and just sort of build it into the cost of the item. That's something you're going to have to decide for yourself. 30% of online purchases are returned. I talked to some businesses that are terrified about having to deal with an overwhelming amount of returns. 30% of people are returning purchases. And the vast majority of those are due to retailer error. The product's damaged, or it wasn't very well described, or it looks nothing like the picture looked. So as long as you're thorough and honest, you should be able to avoid most returns. Clothing does have the highest rate. It is about 50% because clothing is so subjective and it's not very standardized. So people just have a habit of buying 2 of something and then returning whichever one doesn't fit. If you are selling clothing, it's just something you're going to have to get used to, unfortunately. But if you don't want to fuss with all of the shipping, you can also just consider local pickup or delivery options. A lot of businesses are doing that for people here on Whidbey Island. So that's also absolutely something you can do. And it's one of those shipping classes that you can set up that people can choose. They can just choose local pickup or local delivery. So as we come to our end of our time here, I'm sorry, I'm a little over time. And Julia has one question. Are there options for returns and what? Absolutely. It is your store at the end of the day. You can set your own return policy as long as you clearly link to it on your site. You can say, I don't accept returns at all. I only accept returns under these conditions. It's your site. It's your business. You risk angering people if it's too stiff and it doesn't allow for, life, but you can do whatever you want. As long as you clearly communicate it, there is no legal impact to just not accepting returns, as long as you tell people that blatantly. There's quite a few things I buy online, bras and underwear. Sorry, there's no returns for that because they can't resell it. So you can absolutely have a policy like that, or you can have a very generous policy. It's your call, just communicate it clearly. So I'll show you guys this one last thing, and then I'll let you guys answer some questions and I'll let you go because I know we're over time and I apologize. Snow Isle Libraries has an amazing tool here. If you don't have a library card, they've made it super easy to get one online, but they have an entire business page with a bunch of information to help you do what you need to do. The only one we're going to look at right now is this one about halfway down the page called lynda.com. If you go straight to lynda.com, it does cost money. But if you click on that link through the library, you can log in with your library card. As you can see, I changed mine to a username, but you'll probably have to type in that 17-digit number. And they have videos on everything you could imagine. Look, right here, they have learning product photography. If I go to the library, I can see there's a whole bunch of business skills and marketing. And I can also search for things. So say you have more questions on WooCommerce. I can search WooCommerce and get all of their classes on how this works. Some of them are really short. Some of them are longer. You can watch them at any pace you want. You can go back and rewatch. You can skip around. If you have to leave and come back, it'll save exactly where you were in that class. So it is a fantastic tool. So that is all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, this is absolutely your time. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming, and I hope the rest of your day is fantastic. So any questions for me? Go ahead and put up my contact info if you need it. Thank you so much, everybody. Apologies if I overwhelmed you. I know it can be a lot, but you guys are trying really hard to adjust to the current times, and it's not as scary as you think it is. I believe you. You can do it. So good luck, and please feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. Have a great day.